Generic greetings. In a previous episode of Prison Architect, we were taking great interest in looking back at some of the very early prisons that we made on the channel, and it was for, as I said, interest, posterity, and nostalgia's sake, I guess. It was a decent thing to document to see not just how far the game has come, but also what we've done in terms of changing up our planning and accounting for all of the extra additional elements that are in the game, so different escape attempts and tunneling and contraband and different risks things and all of that sort of thing. And people seem to really like the format and requested more, so this is that. We're going to be taking a look back at some more early prisons, this time specifically Alpha 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, so 5 in total. And obviously we know that they'll load, but we don't have any idea what they'll be like. But it'll be interesting checking those out. If you are interested in this sort of thing, then by all means keep letting me know on such, and I'm happy to keep on looking back and making them. Also, a lot of requests to go back and fix them, as well as fix other people's prisons that they send in. If you would like to see either or both of those, then by all means let me know in the comments and we can try and arrange something like that. Anyway, by the way, today's beverage is grapefruit juice, pink grapefruit juice actually. So we're going to go with Alpha 10. I know that one of these, I don't know which one, I'm guessing 12, but we'll have to see. I know one of them categorically will not function, just because of the way I place the cells, so we'll get onto that as we load in. So let's go for Alpha 10, and we'll see what sort of prison this is. So immediately we can see that it is quite green, which is of decent interest and also aesthetic value. We've got our main entrance naturally at the front. I've just noticed that there is a double gap all the way around, and I don't know why I kept on doing that, but also no fence around it. But then again, there wasn't any road gates, was there? Actually, I'm just going to unpause it and let it crack on there. So we can see we've got deliveries and garbage there. We've got these double doors here going straight in. No reception because, as I said, it wasn't in the game. In fact, that wasn't in the game for quite some time. It was actually quite a late addition to the game. No metal detectors either, so, you know, that's a black mark against it. We've got visitation, which does have a jail door, no automatic door opener, so that's not great. In this room here, we've got nothing. I don't know what that room originally was or what purpose it serves. And then outdoors, we have the power station, 2 power stations actually, and the water pump with a pipe valve there as well. Now, this isn't too bad because the weather isn't on, but if it was, then this would be all kinds of bad. Down to the south, we have our solitary, which is an interesting place to put it. Infirmary is right next to it, which actually is a decent place to put that because it means you can quickly go in there and do all of that sort of thing. Let me just manually open that door to let these people through. We've also got actually we could probably move these beds to the left and get some more beds in there, but remember we didn't have pharmacological treatment to drug addiction or anything like that in the game, so there was no reason to do that. We've got the morgue there, it's big enough I guess, and then our admin block there, so that's actually okay. In terms of this little room here, it's a common room. We've got our TVs, which once again will not function properly, and we've got pool tables and some phone booths as well. It's mirrored on the other side as well. This is where I think I went through my symmetrical phase, where everything must be symmetrical as best we can get it, I guess. We've got our kitchen, which is about right, I think, for the ratios, with good sinks, although it would be nice to put the sinks closer. We've gone with a double staff door, which I think is quite interesting. I can't remember doing that, but that's quite good, and I might have to do that again because I quite like the look of that. That's interesting. Metal detectors just outside there as well, so we can't get contraband stolen, and then no metal detectors here, so you can easily nick spoons and take them out, but you probably can't you can't get them through the cell box because there's metal detectors there as well, so at least I thought about that. You can see we've got the doors locked open, so at least we've got that going for the prison. Apart from in the previous ones, it was a case of just barging through and having to wait. So this is a low-risk prison. It is a minimum security prison. I've just realised there. Anyway, we're going to keep looking at the cell blocks. There is 2 of. Obviously, they are mirrored. So we've got, in no particular order, a bit of a 4x4 security area, a cell and a cell either side, and then a common room in the middle, which is just phone booths, and then a cleaning cupboard there. And then we have cells all the way along, and then a shower right in the centre. Speaking of the centre, we have the laundry there, which does have ironing boards, so that denotes that I think it's Alpha 10, because I think laundry was added in sort of 8, 9, but not ironing boards, but that's been added now. We've got the yard, which requires more weight benches and just more things, but at least it's there anyway. We've got 2 of those. And then on the far left, we have an empty room here, and then 2 workshops, which are set out for saws and presses. Have we got, what, 3... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, it's a bit of a weird mixing ratio, but they're all in there. And obviously some power switches as well to turn them on and off. And I'm guessing if we go over to utilities, we can probably see that, yep, we have the grid. No, actually, we don't have the grid powering one, I thought. I thought it would be one to this side, then one to that side, but it's not. We've got the dark green powering mainly the north and also the west, so it's powering both of the, well, both of these workshops as well as the laundry, which is something I didn't expect for. That's not very good load balancing, is it? But then the light green one powers the south and the most of the east, as well as the central area for the kitchen. So I guess that's, yeah, we've went a bit overkill. We can see that that's only running at half power and that's running at about 1/3. Anyway, in terms of deployment and our staff-only areas, we haven't set staff-only in a lot of areas, not that we need to, you understand. More could have been staff only and that could have been staff only, but yeah, I don't know. Would there be any great things of doing that? It wouldn't really interfere with it too much because you can't get into this area and there's nothing to nick from the morgue. So basically, it's about right. It does work. We probably have some guards set up. I don't know if we have patrols. Well, we haven't got it unlocked. So eventually, or they are stationed. There's 2 people stationed there, but there's no patrol set up. But we might have that. Anyway, that's not too bad. Not too sure why that's not working. There we go. There's that fixed. Alright, so that was all for 10. Low-risk prison. It's fairly alright. I think it would function these days with a couple of minor tweaks and upgrades and just add some... put some upgrades in there for the bureaucracy, but apart from that... that seems to be alright. If it's a little, I wouldn't say bland, but it's fairly run-of-the-mill, isn't it? It's symmetrical, it's got that going for it, and certainly with the workshops, we'll produce a lot of money for it, so yeah, it's fairly alright. Okay, let's take a look at another one, so we'll load and go right to the bottom again, and we're going to take a look at number 11, and yes, the pod prison, the one that I knew for a fact was not going to work. So this is the pod prison that we called it, and it was a nightmare to get around, to get around cell blocks. The idea for this was to make a sort of 4 round areas and then connected up with these little extra bits, although I don't know if those were like add-ons after the fact. I think the original idea was just to have some circles and go from there. This is probably one of the most unique designs that I've made. I think we did do a Death Star one. In fact, I know we did do a Death Star one for the Imperial Architect one, but... that was round as well, but this one was certainly the most outrageous in terms of its design, and also it doesn't work at all, because as you can see, all these cells are just laid out on the floor, and that can no longer happen. I mean, it could be fixed, this thing. All we need to do is remove these cells and implement dormitories, I think, so we'll get rid of all of these cells, like so. And then what we'll do is we will say probably get a common room there and common room there gone as well, and then we'll make that a dormitory and that a dormitory, and it says it needs to be enclosed. We could probably fix that, I think we could probably fix that by adding... actually, if we just add that to it as well, is that no longer enclosed? There you go, it's fine. We've also got a fight over here as well, because why not? What are the needs all about? There's no needs listed. The needs are now being generated. Okay, so I have no idea what's going on there, and there's some deaths, because... of course there is. I'm guessing that'll be a snitch. Yes, snitch. So I don't know if prisoner traits were in the game at this point. I'm going to wager not, but again, not entirely sure about that one. But yeah, this doesn't work, as you can see, because of the cells. But if we just create it all as dormitory, then it does function. Obviously, if we were going to either overhaul or build this again, well, for a start I probably wouldn't, because it was a nightmare to deal with and it's very space inefficient, but it is an interesting design. The thing is, the dormitory, placing it like this is okay, but I'd remove all of the beds and toilets and then place them in a better ratio, and I'd use bunk beds as well. And this shower over there, I'd probably either, actually, well, what I've done there is just designate all that as dormitory, which functions fine. So we'd probably just go with that, or we could, if we really wanted to, put some doors either side of them there on the entrances, and that would provide the enclosure that the room needs. So there's that. Let's just go from the front of the prison back over then. So front prison, you can see we've got some deliveries there, as well as some garbage. Actually, where is the garbage? Deliveries is there, garbage is there. Okay, I can see that. From the main entrance here, we've got some visitation, which is very garbage. It's terrible in every way, because it's just the size of that one. We have obviously our CCTV monitors in a massive explosion in a monitor factory type setup, and it's all over the place because yeah, that's the old way of doing it. Coming further in and then down, we've got our workshop, which technically is 4 workshops, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and actually, yeah, what we originally were going to do, I believe, was place some tables in each of these, but we decided that if we place tables right in the centre there, what that'll allow us to do is store all of these license plates there. But I don't know if this will function anymore. It's because it does say there room requirements needs a table. This might not function anymore. It certainly won't function now because nobody's trained up on it. But, yeah, maybe if we just place a table in there, it would probably work. This one certainly won't work because, as you see, it needs a sauna press. Although it might still be used as storage. It just depends on what the game requires. But anyway, moving off from that, we've got a yard on the north and the south there, right in the centre. Speaking of right at the south there, we've got the infirmary, which was never completed. We've got a cleaning cupboard and a morgue. It's not a terrible place to put a cleaning cupboard, but it's not ideal either. Right in the centre, we have our interesting sort of diamond-shaped canteen, which has serving tables placed in a weird angle, and also all of these tables in there. We've got a total of 66 normal security prisoners, so this is about right. I'd probably put some phone booths in extra just to add a little bit something there. On the pod on the top right, we can see we've got our kitchen. We've got storage, which is massively oversized. We've got an interesting admin block here. This is the admin block, which doesn't require to be enclosed, apparently, but needs to be a minimum size of 4x4. Now, this is when we were exploiting the sizing, so as long as at least one tile was this size, then it would class it as fine. So you can see this accountant's office is saying no, it is not a minimum size of 4x4. It does have a length of 4, and it has a height of 4, but only in one of the 4 tiles there. So that's why it would work back in day, but now no longer. To the left of this admin pod, we've got the power and water. On the north, we have the holding cell as well as drains for the shower on the far left, and then we have some solitary on the right, which again we can fix by just removing some of that. Obviously, we're very space conscious when we made this, so yeah. I mean, if I would do this again, I would probably remove that, make the wall go along there, have an entrance there, and then have some more solitary, but, you know. And this cell block, we're not going to comment on too much because it's just identical to the one down the south there, which we have already mentioned. Also, in the centre, we have, once again, TVs that probably won't work, and then pool tables there as well. Far left, we have our laundry, which is fine, and another cleaning cupboard for whatever reason. Anyway, that is Pod Prison, one of the most interesting designs, one of the most space inefficient, which is saying something, and certainly something I would not like to try and go around and fix. Let's load up another one. We're going to go for, this time, it's Alpha 12, and this is where my memory gets hazy on the prisons, because I really can't remember a lot about them from this time. This is a high-risk prison. Okay, that's interesting in terms of, well, we've done that. So this was where we had the idea of having, I think we stumbled on the idea of basically just watching, well, I was watching at the time, I think, are they not working? Oh, they're not working. I was watching The Great Escape around this time, and went for the idea of the huts. So every hut is sort of self-enclosed. Not that you'd have a shower in there, you understand. We'd have to have a separate shower block to have it more accurate, but still, we went on this idea of having huts. So, we have cells down the left and right, and then shower right at the back, and all self-contained. So if it kicked off in that, we could just lock that up and job done. We'll start from the front like we normally do. Once again, we've got a wall of a double gap between the fencing and the edge, and then we have from the entrance there we have some nice lighting, which is good. And although that light shouldn't be there, we have these jail doors here. No automatic door openers, no one stationed in there. 2 out of 10 wouldn't play again. Up the north of that, we've got our admin block and a bit of an infirmary and a morgue, although it's sectioned off through multiple metal detectors and doors. We've got our one power station there. We've got storage there, and then further south we've got... Oh no, we've got some more. We've got another power station and water pump as well just outside. It looks like that's been a bit of a retrofit at some point. We've got some deliveries and garbage and such, and you can see that this is all probably set to staff only. It is not set to staff only because I don't know why. Anyway, we have our security room right at the front, which is A, not designated as security, and B, the CCTV monitors don't work, and strangely... Strangely, I don't know why I've put that many. I'm guessing. Oh, I think the idea was to try and keep the staff away from the main prison section as much as possible, which is why we've only got a total of 14 guards, because we used a lot of CCTV. It was a lot. It wasn't remote prison because obviously remote access is now in the game, but at the time, yeah. At the time, we wanted to go with something like that. Obviously, these days, we could do that quite happily. There's some prisoner intake because we really need that at this time. Anyway, we've got the kitchen there, which is not finished, and certainly probably could do with some more stuff in there. A very cramped, very cramped actually, kitchen, considering that there's a lot of prisoners here. 92 down to 91. We also have some normal security prisoners in here. We have some visitation right in the centre, which is interesting in terms of its deployment. I don't know why I've put them there, but it's not a deal breaker by any means. In the centre, we have a yard on both sides, although this one on the left is not designated as yard because I think this was again the time when if you had multiple of the same thing, it would be not good. Cleaning cupboard and laundry are in there and should be totally functional. For whatever reason, metal detectors have been placed at every place and opportunity there, which is why I'm guessing we have to have all of these power stations. We have a solitary on the bottom right there. In the centre, we have a common room, which is, again, TVs that won't work, and then a workshop on the far left, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so it's 20 in total. That'll be, 18 by... 14 by... No, 22 by 11. Oh, yeah, is that the 24 by 13 or 13? 24 by 14, I think, is the ideal size for this. But, yeah, that's okay. And once again, metal detectors on the top and bottom. Each cell block, as we mentioned, is 2, 4, 6, 8 cells, followed by a shower at the back, which is obviously bigger than it needs to be, but we can't really fit anything else in there. These are saying they're not going to work because they're not enclosed. It's an easy fix. We just place doors on all of this one, and then that'll be pretty much sorted. We could also designate the whole thing as dormitory once again. If we go over to that and dormitory, we can say get rid of the lot, and then redesignate as dormitory, and then that'll function. There you go, yeah, so that's fine. So we could easily fix that if we wanted to. And there you go, that's another look at, this time, a high-risk one. Yeah, we have built several prisons since this one with this idea of having... individual sort of huts or very small self-contained cell blocks. But yeah, nice to look at that. And also what's of interest is that you can see just how little we can see in the prison when it doesn't function with CCTV. Okay, so we'll go to load and we'll go down to the second to last one here, so Alpha 13, and this is... I have no idea what this one's all about. We have a perimeter wall, which I'm guessing this is the... Is that a perimeter wall? It looks like a perimeter wall to me. It is a perimeter wall. So this must be when perimeter wall was added and we wanted to... capitalize on that. So from the entranceway we can see that we've got a perimeter wall going all the way around the entire prison. I'm guessing this took quite a lot of time to build, just because of how much money I know that perimeter wall would cost. This is a small map by the look of it as well. Once again, we have an entrance here with no metal detectors. Ooh, that's a black mark against it. We've got some visitor tables in the visitation, quite a large visitor area, followed by a workshop, and then it's sort of... It's a bit of a weird one, this, isn't it? It's got storage in the centre, power on the north and south there, with a kitchen, canteen. Then we've got laundry and 2 cleaning cupboards. Once again, going for this symmetrical approach, draw a line from left to right in the centre, and then we're going to sort of mirror it north and south. We've got, at the back, infirmary, morgue, and all of our admin blocks, as well as security. Now, that isn't necessarily a terrible idea, because obviously going through security, yeah, you're going to get jumped on really if things go wrong, because if you want to get to these offices you're going to have to go through all of this. These days we'd have dogs and armory and stuff to get through as well. It looks like this is a completely mixed prison. We have 28 normal prisoners, 28 normal, 27 normal, and 28 maximum. So yeah, we got a decent spread there of minimum, normal, and maximum. No protective, supermax, or death row because they didn't exist at the time, I don't think. We have at the north and south on the far left some solitary doors for solitary. At the very north and very south, we have a set of common rooms. Well, so we have sort of pool tables, phone booths, and TVs. We have a fairly big shower room, which should be enough for that. And then we have a what's this on either side? Is that a... Oh yeah, that's looks like to be a holding cell of some kind, and a yard as well. Looks like it hasn't been finished off. We should probably add some more things in the yard, and certainly in the common room. In terms of the cells, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and I'm guessing that's the same size on the other one. 34 and 34, yes, so they're the same size. So a decent capacity here. The question is, have we set deployment up? No, we haven't. So I don't know if you could set up the deployment for shared or min or max, or the different segregations you could do for this one. But there you go, that's not too bad. Not of massive interest. I think we've done something like this before. I think the idea was this was our first truly mixed prison with the wall around it. Obviously we haven't got any patrols set up and things like that, I'm guessing. Oh no, we do have guard patrols, there you go. We should have them... They should be patrolling in and around here, so we've got no one assigned to the workshop, and we've got people assigned over there, which is interesting because you don't need to do that anymore, so we can turn that off, and that's what we used to do, assign someone right into the centre. But if I turn that off, they'll wander off now, and you can't even place them like this, so if I move that, we wouldn't even be able to place it back there. But yeah, not a bad one. It's not the most interesting that we made, but certainly at the time when we have this mixed prison, and also going with these cell blocks on the outside and the main sort of spine on the in one, that's all right. Not obviously very, very secure with it being further out towards the edge, but it's certainly not really as bad as some of the other ones where they're right on the edge. And we do obviously have this perimeter wall as well, with the advantage that if we wanted to, we could have a dog patrolling these days in and around here, so we could just patrol the dogs all the way around like that, and then that should really give us an ample bit of protection. Okay, so the last one then, this is going to be Alpha 14, and we can see that it is large and also expanded upon. So this is where we have the land expansion, and certainly the first one that we've loaded up now that we have expanded upon. Not the other ones, we might have not done that, but and it might have actually been in the game at that time. But this might have been the one that added land expansion, and maybe the one that well, so it is the one that we expanded upon. So let's just take a look at it. I'm going to pause it and actually put a wall across where I think the original wall would have been. So there we go. So we can see from the entranceway we have once again a perimeter wall all the way around. That is stupidly expensive to do that, and we've got now a bit of a gap. We've got a gap between the edge. We've removed the gap of 2. We're going with just a gap of 1. That's a minimum size there. Then we have the perimeter wall. Then we have a walkway which we can patrol around, and then we have a that's interesting. Then we have this other wall with loads of windows, because as people are walking around there, you can see through it. Now the advantage of doing that, if you did that with a fence, the downside with a fence is that it's not very secure. You can climb over it quite easily these days, because obviously climbing is in with the ropes. Tunneling under it is it pretty much has there's no impedance to it. You just go straight underneath, whereas this one is more secure. Also with the large windows, it means we can see through it as well, whereas in the fence you can see through it as well. All the downside of the fence as well, the grass underneath it, the dirt underneath it, it just looks fairly bad, whereas this looks better. But yeah, this is a more secure way of doing it. So anyway, going back to the front here, we can see that once again, no metal detectors. Although, oh yeah, no metal detectors apart from the centre here, which is to stop, I'm guessing, people bringing stuff out of the workshop, but I'll check out them over the other side in a minute. So we got our, for whatever reason, the deliveries and garbage in this inside of the prison. This is totally, there's nothing outside. It's literally just a wall as you come along. We've also got visitation here, which is our first attempt at making some sort of enclosed one. This is where this is the time when we didn't have where is it, the visitor booths. So the booths are completely closed off. You can have them set, so there's prisoner on one side, visitor on the other, and it means that they can never physically make contact, so nothing like contraband can be passed across it. This was just like a visual improvement over previous stuff. It's just we wanted to make it look like this, and it was pretty good. And I'm pretty sure I nicked this off a friend because he was making a prison at the time, and we were talking away, and he showed me that, and I went, oh, that's pretty good, and that's how that got incorporated there. We've got some officers on the south as well as some storage, and I'm guessing we followed it up at the top with that. Yeah, okay, and we also have dogs now as well, so this is probably the first time dogs have been added. This was probably the dog update because I haven't seen it in the previous ones. But I don't think it was in the previous one. And so we've got dogs there and a massive amount of dog crates in that kennel. Right in the centre we have our workshop. 2 sets of workshop actually, so we're going to make decent money off this prison. Further in towards the centre of the prison we have our kitchen and a massive canteen. And I don't know whether that's just me oversizing things as usual or whether it was a case of we knew that we were going to expand. We also have some morgue and infirmary on the north of the canteen, and then all of our power and water systems just to the south of that. And this is again where we're following the sort of slightly symmetrical design. We've got the yard in there, we've got solitary, a lot of solitary actually for the size of prison, and also we have our... What's that? Is that a... Oh, that's just a holding cell. And then a common room with, once again, the standard not working setup anymore. And for whatever reason, a door there and a door there. And I don't know why. I mean, it's not a big problem. You understand it's just how it is. Each of the cell blocks look to be fairly identical. These are an expansion upon the idea that we had previously, which was have these individual fairly small cell blocks. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 cells. And then a shower at the back, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's decent size for what we've got in here, and also we've got some phone booths there as well, and some CCTV monitors, cameras in the centre, which are not monitored at the moment because of, well, reasons. And we've got 4, 8, 12 of those in total. However, we didn't have that when we started this one, because we probably planned it so that we built this fairly large, so we've oversized things like the workshops and the canteen and only have a very small amount of prisoners here, knowing that we can expand, and that's probably why this decision was made, to really front load it quite heavily and oversize things and then expand with the land, so buying more land and then build extra bits, knowing that that'll then fill the capacity that we've made for ourselves at the start. I think that's probably why this decision was made. If we look further back, we do have some laundries and 2 cleaning cupboards. I don't know why I didn't just make that one big one. And then we've got our security room here with more cleaning cupboards. I don't know why there's so many cleaning cupboards like that. And then finally a common room right at the back. Obviously we've got these same cells, so yeah, they're all just sort of following back. If we go over to our deployment, we once again have the outside finally this time set to staff only, which is good. A lot of these set to unlocked, so you can go in and out them without any great difficulty. I don't know why we've made that decision. We might as well just have normal doors on that one instead of the jail doors, but not that it matters a great deal, you understand. That one there, one's office is not set to staff only, and the chief should be, and yeah, I mean... In terms of fixing this, there's not much to fix. It seems to function. Once again, CCTV and the standard change when it comes to the TVs is required, but other than that, I'd probably put a couple more metal detectors in some strategic places, because we've got these metal detectors here which you can go out, which will catch you stealing anything from the workshop, and we've got metal detectors, to be fair, on the canteen side, so you can't steal anything metal from either the kitchen or the workshop. That's actually quite good, because this is generally where most of the metal stuff is in and around, so that's okay. That's not too bad at all. I'd probably put some more patrols in, although saying that I don't even know what patrols there are. There are several patrols set up, most of them being dogs. Yeah, I'm pretty confident this will be the dog update if I've overused them like that. But yeah, there we are. That is the Alpha 14 prison, and again, a nice, interesting one to look at. I think the pod prison was the most quirky. The one where we had the little chalets, or whatever you want to call it, chalets or huts, that was something that was inspired, like say, by like a sort of POW type camp, and then we implement that design throughout many series. But we've gone for it like here, and went with the idea of building something and then expanding upon it, knowing that we were going to do that preemptively, not just build something and then go, right, now we can expand and then do that, and then have to account for all of the mess ups and whatnot. So we planned ahead on the expansion on this one, so that's interesting. Anyway, it's been pretty good to look back at some of the prisons that we've made throughout these many months. I think at this time this was a case of every month we get a new alpha, so that's how we did the videos. So we'd play for the same prison for a month, and then as soon as the next alpha comes, we'd start again. That was the general rule of thumb. It wasn't an ideal solution because you sometimes had to rush the prisons out, and sometimes the alpha would come out in different days and stuff, but it did allow for at least a nice fresh wave every month. We knew that something new was going to be added, and we could then take that and incorporate it into the build, not just for like the new features, but also we could just try something different. So yeah, pretty good indeed. If you like what you see, then by all means let me know if you want to see more of this sort of thing, if you want to keep going through some of the old ones. I didn't plan on really making this like a common thing, and going through every single one I guess would get old quite quickly, but I'm up for it. If that's what you desire, by all means let me know. Also, if you like the idea of going back and fixing some of these and getting them working, then let me know on that one as well. And also, there has been some suggestion for people send in their prisons and we go through them and not just critique them but also fix them if they need to do that. And it's an interesting idea, but I'd like to know what your thoughts are on that one. Either way, hope you have enjoyed this little look back at some of the early prisons that we've made. Certainly we're progressing on now to a point where we are getting competent at making them, and this design seemed to certainly work for the most part, at least they did back in the day. So yeah, as always, hope you have enjoyed the video. Thanks very much for watching, take care, and generic partings.